All right, got a little project in mind, a Miller table. You know we get a lot of fine gold in New York, and sometimes it's kind of a pain to pan it out. It's still fun panning, but why not have a different way? So I ordered this cheap cutting board here. We're gonna use that for the base. This is like, I don't know, it was like $8. Kind of smaller than what I expected, even though they gave the dimensions. And we got some chalkboard paint for it and some other stuff here that we're going to use, and we got a pine board. I do have a couple oak planks I was going to cut and use, but you know, I figure this is kind of a trial run, first one I've ever made. We got a pine board to do that with and some plumbing here, so just got to cut the boards to length. And I've watched a few videos on YouTube and read a little bit about making Miller tables, so we're going to do it this style and see how it turns out, huh? Sounds like a fun project, don't it? Alright, stay tuned. Alright, I think we got all the pieces cut where we want them. Kind of laid out here to show you. This board here, you can see it's going to be about an 1/8 of an inch gap underneath it for the water to flow out. Then the plumbing will be through there. I'll drill holes through there for the plumbing. The water will come out of there and just feed out from under that board right down our table. I got some paint. I'll paint that like I said earlier. I think we're about there. Now we're just going to take a bunch of this Titebond. This is what the one video was showing. Use this to waterproof the wood. So we're going to spread a bunch of that on there. I guess you mix that with some water and spread it on that wood and let it dry. And let it cure a little bit. Put these two boards together, drill our holes, glue it all, waterproof it, and yeah. And in the meantime, we'll take some of this sticky stuff to put on our plastic here. We'll put that on our board next, and then our paint will be able to stick to that plastic. So that's the next step. Alright, we got our holes drilled. We kind of messed up a little bit, which we'll have. Just trying to do 2 different size holes, one for the T and one for the pipe, so the T fits right in there pretty snug. We'll silicone that. And then this pipe, the 1/2 inch PVC fits right in there. Oops, sorry about that. But when I was drilling, I was trying to drill that smaller hole through that bigger hole, and I put it on the wrong area, and I kind of cut through right there, but that's okay. I don't mind showing that I mess up. We all mess up, and that's what makes us better, right? So we got those drilled. We'll sand them down a little bit and then start gluing this stuff. Alright, good times. Just mix some of that Titebond, some water together, and you can see, just makes it kind of runny there. See that? So we're going to spread that on the wood. Now we're going to spray the cutting board with some stuff that'll help our paint stick to it because it's made out of plastic. Universal bonding primer. Now I can't say I take credit for any of this. I mean, this wasn't my design or ideas or anything. Maybe a couple little things out of it, but most of it came from a YouTube channel called Utah Avalanche. I believe that's what it's called. And I kind of watched a few of his videos, and he makes some nice Miller tables and such, and I kind of stole the idea from him. So check him out if you want to see some of the better products, better Miller tables and such that are out there. Alright, let's give this a coat. Alright. Just Let that dry and all that wood over there dry, and we'll give it that all a couple, 3 or 4 coats. Stay tuned. Well, I got you on. Something I was thinking was, a lot of these have a spot where you put your vial down underneath there. It's a little process, a couple size holes, and you gotta glue the cap up in there and all. But I have a very thin board. I regret getting this board now, but I should have got a bigger one, longer and thicker, very narrow. I don't have a drill press, but I thought about taking this drill bit here. You can see the top is very flat. I'm just drilling down in there a little bit, of course up here where the hole wants to be, but just drilling down in there like a third of the way or something, and just give it a little hollow. Then I could sweep the gold over into that little hollow and snuffer them up with my snuffer jar. That sounds like a good idea. Just a little gold well in there instead of a bottle underneath. Let's try that. Okay, we got that hole drilled in there, just a little well to sweep the gold into. At first the bit started drifting a little bit and I marred up the plastic a little. That won't affect us because we'll be putting our material over here anyway. So let's get a couple coats of paint in that hole so our chalkboard paint will stick to it. Coat of glue on there and give them a little sand tomorrow, and that hole's looking good and painted. Tomorrow we'll be able to put some chalkboard paint on there. We're just going to let this stuff dry overnight. Okay. See you tomorrow. Alright, we got our boards all painted and varnished. We got our cutting board all painted blue. There's 7 or 8 coats of blue chalkboard paint. Jenny picked the color blue. I like it. It's a pretty blue and it should do the job of seeing that gold and black sand on there. We'll get all of our boards water treated. So now we'll get the boards put together, screwed together. We're going to drill pilot holes and screws in it and get it to the right shape. Let the wood dry a little bit more. Let the wood glue that we use dry a little bit more, and then we'll screw it to the board. Oh yeah. And we got to stick our first piece of plumbing in there before we glue it all together. So that's what's coming next. That's the plan, man. Stay tuned. Okay, well here it is, all put together. I got it all silicoed down to the board, and all screwed on there. I think it's gonna work okay. I got a little bit of cleanup to do here. Overcocked it. A little bit of cleanup, but there it is. Plumbing's all in. And a little well there to sweep the gold into. Looks like the paint's nice and durable. Not tacky anymore. We're still going to let everything dry for a while, and then we'll get some plumbing to it and see how it works. Pretty cool, man. It's a little fella. Probably 10 inches. 9.5, 10-inch board. That's not very big, but just big enough, right? This is the first draft. Maybe later on, if we like this one, we'll build a bigger one. Alright, stay tuned. We'll get it going. Probably tomorrow after we let it all dry. Okay, we got it running. Looking good. Nice steady flow there. I like the blue. The wells, if I fill the well up too much, it seems like I get too much water coming out of there. And I left underneath lower than or less than an 1/8 inch gap there. But if I turn it up anymore, even a little more, it seems like the flow might be a little too much, but I don't know. I've never ever used a Miller table before, so I'm actually going to turn it back down a little bit. Just a little. Don't really know what I'm doing, but turn it down a little more, I guess. Okay. Now there's enough water up on the back of that, so it's not, the water isn't just rushing right out. It's kind of got to gather a little bit and then come out. So I have some fine gold here. I actually mixed them in with some Herkimer's out of accident here. I'll get that fine gold out of there and get it in some fine black sand and put a little on this table and see what happens. First time ever, so let's see how it goes. Having fun anyway. I like building stuff and saving a few bucks. I mean, all the lumber and everything is, I don't know, is $45, $50, but you know, anyway. Alright, let's get some gold on that thing. Let's get our spoon over here. Let's just put some black sands on here and see what happens. I've never done this before, so Let's see how this works. Oops. Get that pan so it's sitting there. Alright. Kind of flows off there really slow. Like that. Maybe that's too much. I don't know. Hopefully you can see that. Touch it a little bit and it goes. I got a little pile worked out of that. A little bit there. There's still a few little pieces. You see that little tiny speck right there? You can barely even make it out on the camera. See that little tiny one? It's even holding that stuff. Well, the black sands aren't flowing off like maybe they could, but I don't mind moving them around a little bit. If I was in more of a hurry, I guess I could turn it up a little bit. What I've been doing is, then I'll just work it all back up to the top again. You can see some of the lights flowing off there. And after I've looked at it, through it pretty good, I'll sweep it over here to the side and let it hang out here by itself and do whatever it's going to do. But I still see a few little specks in here. There's one right there. A little teeny tiny thing, one right there. So yeah, it's catching that little gold. Pretty cool, I like it a lot. I turn the water flow up a little bit. Let's see, it's riding a little higher on that backboard now. About an eighth of an inch higher or more. And it's still hanging on to that tiny stuff. There's one right off the bottom corner of my brush right there. Little tiny thing, see it? That's a tiny little piece of gold. And there's one right off the corner of my brush there again, by that piece of sand. I like it. Alright folks, that was a fun little project. I really liked building that thing. It took a little while getting all that sealer and stuff to dry out here in the shop, but we got her done. It's a lot of fun running that thing. Nice and relaxing. Thanks for stopping in and checking out that little project. Cool little Miller table build. Like I said, I can't take the credit for the design. I got it from Utah Avalanche, I believe what the channel's name is. He builds other stuff too. Check him out. If you like his channel or any of these other ones, subscribe to their stuff. It doesn't cost anything. And while you're here on my video, hit a like. Subscribe to me if you haven't, if you like these videos. Check out some of my other videos. I do all kinds of stuff. Alright, the next build will be a high banker. I really need a high banker. So, until we get out again, I'll see you then. And remember, as always, have fun!